Arrest! Arrest!
Good job, good job. Excellent job.
That's my stove, that.
Is about to start. Oh.
Out here, even the smallest mistake can turn a simple trip into a dangerous encounter. From a truck suddenly filling with smoke after a hidden electrical fire, to a lone explorer breaking his ankle deep in the Australian outback with no help nearby. Situations can change in seconds. When everything goes wrong, far from safety, would you stay calm and think clearly, or panic when it matters most? On April 28, 2025, YouTuber Maverick from the channel headed out on what was supposed to be a straightforward spring camping trip along the north shore of Lake Superior in northern Minnesota. His channel is known for documenting outdoor activities, truck camping, fishing outings, and quiet nights in remote locations. But that evening, the trip would soon take an unexpected turn.
I'm going to be making my sweet way up the north shore of Lake Superior here in northern Minnesota. Right now it's about 25 degrees outside. Tonight it's supposed to get down to about 18, heavy snow. It's a gorgeous day, and one of my favorite things to do this time of year on the North Shore is to go shore fishing. I'm going to be trying to catch myself a northern Minnesotan steelhead. Although the lake's right here, and I could be to it in less than 2 minutes, then I'm going to have to stop at a grocery store, find some food, all before I'm able to find a place to park and camp for the night.
The trip started earlier that day at Maverick's garage. He packed up the truck and began driving north along scenic Highway 61 toward Lake Superior. His plan was simple. He intended to fish for steelhead before a late spring snowstorm arrived in the area. While on the road, his phone showed a winter weather advisory alert. The forecast indicated strong winds and dropping temperatures, but Maverick continued toward the lake.
Alright, so if you look at the river, you can see it's kind of coming down this way off the rod tip. You can see where that muddy water is. I'm gonna work my way down the side here and see if I can't get lucky. Alright, well unfortunately for me, I'm not able to get my bobber past the line. I've tried a couple casts now and it's not really going in my favor. You can kind of see the water starts to clear up a little more. So if I can get it on that inner current seam right there, so I'm gonna try to hit that for a couple casts. I'm gonna move a little bit further down and see if I can't, I'm not super confident in my spots I'm at right now. I'm gonna give it a shot, a few casts before I take off on out of here and head over to a grocery store and figure out what I unfortunately think that'll about do it for me here. Oh, bad day to forget the jacket.
When he arrived at the North Shore, the weather already felt colder than he had anticipated. He parked near a river mouth where steelhead were known to pass through. As he started setting up his fishing equipment, he realized something important: he had left his jacket behind. Despite the cold, he kept fishing along the shoreline. Waves rolled in from Lake Superior as he tested different areas where clear and murky water met. A short time later, he moved to another fishing spot where he planned to meet a neighbor's son. Then, something unexpected happened.
I'm gonna go ahead and drive to another river spot that I know. You see any fish? No. It's freaking cold out. Yeah, you got a little. That looks like a coho maybe. That's pretty cool. The guy down the shore there just caught a fish. Usually I stand up on this rock right here, but I don't think I tried that today. Looks like a good way to get wet. Oh boy. Yeah, definitely a good way to get wet. Yeah, we're out. Woo, shit. Get me out of here. I got soaked.
While standing near the rocks by the water, large waves suddenly hit him. With the temperature already dropping, the water in his clothing began freezing almost right away. Realizing how cold he had become, Maverick decided it was time to stop fishing for the day. He left the lake and stopped at a nearby store to buy food for dinner. After shopping, he drove along the shore until he found a quiet place to park for the night with a clear view of the lake.
All right, here we are. One of my favorite. Camped here a handful of times on this channel. Never disappoints. Right next to the lake. It's not supposed to start snowing until like 3 a.m. and it keeps changing its dang mind. So who knows? Maybe we won't actually get snow. All right, well, let's see if this diesel heater still works, shall we? Oh my God. Dude, my truck's on fire. What the heck?
Inside the truck, Maverick began preparing for the evening. He turned on a diesel heater to warm the cabin before cooking. For a few moments, everything seemed normal. Then he noticed smoke.
What is happening? Oh my gosh, it might explode. I don't know what to do. Holy, this is not good. I'm dumbfounded right now. All of my groceries just got sprayed. What just happened? Oh my gosh. That is terrifying. Look at this. This is a mess. Wow. All right, I gotta get some of this stuff out here and shake this dust off of it. Look at my socks, dude. Oh, what the heck? Is this even still good to eat now? Can I not? Oh my gosh. That was terrifying. Oh my gosh, what do I do?
At first it was faint, but within seconds the cabin started filling with thick smoke. Maverick quickly searched for the source. Near the goal, 0 battery charging port, something had overheated. Flames began appearing around the charging cable connection. He grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed it directly at the source of the fire. White powder filled the cabin instantly. The fire was put out, but the inside of the truck was now covered with chemical residue from the extinguisher. His food, sleeping gear, and equipment were all coated in fine dust.
All right. All right, I disconnected the battery in the back, I should clarify. But it is so cold outside right now, I can't mess with anything. I have to heat up the truck really quick before I even close the hood and get on the road. I have to clean up the fire extinguisher dust particles, and I feel like I can't necessarily do that. And my truck almost started on fire, so I think I'm gonna go back to my shop and figure that out.
The air inside the truck became difficult to breathe. Realizing it was no longer safe to remain there, Maverick decided to leave the campsite and return to his garage. Later, while checking the equipment, he found the issue. The connector from the generator charging line to the Goal 0 battery pack had melted due to extreme heat. To continue the plan, Maverick switched to sleeping in his van, a vehicle he calls Steve. The next morning, snow covered the area around Lake Superior. Looking back at the night before, Maverick realized how close the situation had come to becoming far worse. Some viewers later suggested the cable may have been bent or pinched, causing electrical arcing that overheated the connector. Others pointed out how quickly the fire was controlled. But one question remains: what might have happened if the problem had started later while he was asleep? On May 1st, 2022, the YouTube channel Field Days uploaded a video from a remote region of the Western Australian outback. The channel is recognized for documenting survival experiments and outdoor challenges in extreme conditions. In this episode, the host ventured out alone to test a simple concept: travel through the bush for 24 hours, without food or water, gathering small amounts of water from leaves along the way. At first, the challenge appeared manageable, but the harsh conditions of the outback would soon change that.
Here we go. This isn't the one that we just saw, but I've just walked past this one, just found this is the tree we're looking for. This is called a white gum. These usually grow generally close to a creek or sort of close to water, but that's what this fella's doing, and these are the leaves that we actually want. This is exactly what we want. Beautiful. What we're going to do is we're just going to pillage as many of these leaves off this tree as we can, fill that bag up, and we're going to start hoofing it. Alright, so I'm not going to pillage this tree too much. I've just noticed another tree there in the background. So what we'll do is we'll take a little bit off that tree, a little bit off the next tree, until we can fill this bag right up. Have a look at that. That's already condensating. That's all. That's future drinking water right there. You got to keep your eye out, keep observant when you're out here, and that's what we win. That's so bloody nice. That's just a big long length, some old fencing wire. Anyway, I'll take that any day of the week. I'll snap a little section of that off and we'll put that in the backpack. That's most definitely going to come in handy. That's real good. The hydration station. This thing, it's going to work. It's going to work like a bloody treat. There's a couple of ants in there also. Well, you can't really do anything about that. We'll just have to sieve that water out when we're drinking it. There's no way in the world if you were to put this over a tree that you'd be able to collect that many leaves off of the one branch. You can see it already completely getting all hot and moist and steamy inside. Grab that fencing wire which we found on the floor over there. I've got a bit of string in the bag, but you may as well just use the wire that we found. Just gonna use this fencing wire to tie it up, and we're gonna start hoofing it. Right, we're gonna make this bag airtight. We're gonna wrap this fencing wire around here like this. Gonna lock him off. Now we're talking hydration stations. Have a look at that. That is one big bag full of leaves. I'll show you what's happening. You can see down here, like, have a look at this. It's already just forming some beautiful water there. Don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but there are a heap of little bugs running around. Look at this little fella here. So I suppose we can do one more thing.
Early in the journey, he came across a white gum tree. These trees are often linked to underground moisture, making their leaves suitable for this method. He filled a plastic bag with leaves and sealed it tightly, using a piece of old barbed wire he found on the ground. The bag was then secured to a branch so the process could begin.
What I'm hoping happens is, as they're walking through the bush, all that water's going to condensate. You can look at this. That's all going to condensate. It's going to get pushed down to this point here, which is quite tight. The leaves, the ants, the bugs, sort of like almost a filter. And then hopefully this thing will fill up with water. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that there, but that's complete drinking water. And that little bit of liquid you can see in the bottom, it might look like cat piss at the moment, but that there is 100% drinkable water. We've only been out here for a couple of hours. Still got the whole entire afternoon and all day tomorrow to walk, so that's bloody beautiful. Look at this. We've got this little bit of cat piss in the bottom of that catchment bag we made there. That's a good mouthful and a half of water there, but if I was to hang it up on a tree, I reckon we'd fill up that whole entire little reservoir there full of water, and the time is only 2:02, so we've got a fair whack to walk yet.
After setting up the bag, he continued walking through the bush. The terrain was dry and uneven, covered with rocks and scrub. The sun stayed intense and the air remained hot. After several hours, he returned to check the bag. Small droplets of water had begun forming inside the plastic. Later, he noticed a small amount of water collecting in one corner of the bag. It wasn't much, only a few mouthfuls, but it confirmed the method was working. He kept moving east, heading back toward his vehicle. The car was parked several hours away, and reaching it before nightfall was important.
Wow. We're not too far away from having a sunset. We've done some serious Ks today. I've hung that bag up in a tree with that rope we had. I've just made that little vessel. Easily we've got more than a cup of water already. It'd be a cup and a half. There's probably about a cup of condensation still in that bag. So we've been walking through the bush for around about 6 hours-ish. You can have a look. This has still got a whole lot of condensation and water up on the top there. But down here, there goes another fly. Oh, that's about the 100th fly I've eaten today. It's good for you.
At one point, he stopped beneath a large tree and decided to hang the bag higher so the water could gather more easily in one area. While resting there, another challenge appeared. Large numbers of flies surrounded him. The insects were relentless and difficult to escape. While talking to the camera, he accidentally swallowed flies because they were so dense in the air.
It's good to know we've got at least 2 cupfuls of water in that bag. Let's climb up this tree. We'll see where the hell we are, how far we got to walk.
Later, he climbed a tree to get a clearer view of the landscape.
Oi! Get your monkey on. Alright, get here. Alright, we're halfway up a tree, trying to find out where the hell we are. Wait a minute, that ain't good. That ain't good, that's super slippery. Oh, we've made it to the top of a tree. Oh, look at this. It's probably one of the biggest trees in the area that I could find, but I can just see that. So what I can see here, we're close. We've nearly walked the whole way today. We're pretty close to where we need to be. What's that, another 2 hours, hour and a half walk? We've punched it. I'll show you guys where we are, where we started. We started way on the backside of that ridge this morning, and we just walked this whole way. That's where the car's parked. That's where we need to get to. Maybe it's a 2 hour and a half, 2 hour walk. Things are looking good. There's our campsite down there. All right, let's go and start a fire and sit back for the other. I'm just gonna lob it. Ah, mother. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, you're kidding me. No, no, no. Oh no. That's really not good. Oh, fuck. I've just absolutely destroyed my ankle. Oh, it's absolutely killing me right now. Oh, this is not good, man. Oh, bugger. I've had issues with this ankle before, years and years ago. Oh, I can't even put weight on it. Oh, far out. What am I going to do now? Oh.
From the top, he hoped to spot a distant phone tower in the direction of his vehicle. After scanning the area, he climbed back down and prepared to drop from the final branch. The fall was short about 1 meter, but when he landed, his foot struck a rock at an awkward angle. A sharp, cracking sound was heard. He immediately dropped to the ground in pain. His ankle had been severely injured. The same ankle had been broken years earlier, and the pain suggested it had happened again.
This is actually not even a joke right now, but my ankle, I can't even move my foot. This is bad. No phone reception. This isn't good. This really isn't good. Oh, man, that's not good. No. I've actually broken this ankle before surfing a couple of years ago, and it's exactly that same spot. This is so shit. All right, it's about a 2 hour walk on a good foot to get to the car. Hopping to the car like this is gonna take me hours. We're gonna have to just start thinking of ways to get back to the car. We're not camping here. This is bad. All right, I'm gonna have to make a set of crutches out of sticks and we're getting out of here. Oh, this is the worst. There we go. All right, here we go. Oh, that's good. I've got one crutch made. This actually works really well. Very simple setup. I'm gonna drink the water in that bag and we're gonna start punching on out of here. All right, let's get this water out of this bag and get out of here. Look, because we're going back to the car, I'm just gonna take what we can right now. Here she goes. Look at this. That is fresh drinking water coming straight out of there into our cup. You just punch that high, a little bit higher. See that sediment on the bottom? You don't want to be putting that stuff into your drink. So I've just put that hole a little bit higher. There's easily 2 cups in here. I can still get water out of the bag. Whole entire cup of water. That is 100% drinkable water. Look at this. It's actually quite nice. It almost tastes like some form of a tea. That eucalyptus gives it that little bit of flavour. Oh, I tell you what, after the first thing we've drank all day, that's absolutely incredible. That's real good. It's actually very, very clean water. It's beautiful. Look at my ankle, it is so swollen. Check this out. I'm actually gonna leave my shoe on because I don't reckon I'll get my shoe back on. Oh, what have I done?
Alone in the bush and unable to put weight on his foot, he now faced a serious situation. To keep moving, he gathered branches and constructed 2 simple crutches from nearby trees. Before leaving the area, he collected the water that had formed inside the plastic bag. The method had worked. The bag held more than a cup of clean water. Using the crutches, he slowly began making his way through the bush toward the direction of the road. The sun was starting to set and the flies still surrounded him as he moved step by step through the fading light. Eventually, after hours of slow movement, he heard the sound of vehicles on a nearby highway. It was the first sign that he was finally close to safety. Several viewers later noted how unpredictable travel in the wilderness can be. Even a minor fall on uneven ground can lead to serious injury. In remote environments like the Australian outback, a single accident can quickly turn a simple challenge into a real survival situation. On July 8, 2011, a group of friends were on the 5th day of their climb up Mount Everest. They were moving along the southeast glacier, and the conditions seemed nearly perfect. But in high mountains, stability can vanish in an instant, and that is exactly what happened.
Arrest! Arrest! Arrest!
Good job, good job. Get your toes in there.
You're good. Just get your wits about you and you're going to walk out the low side. You're not walking back up the hill.
Right there?
Yes. Concentrate on what you're doing here, Chief.
Oh yeah. The order of business is get my whips. Alright, that's good. Well, you only thought about.
Nice.
Without warning, one of the men loses his footing and begins sliding down the glacier. His friends immediately call out for him to self-arrest, a command every mountaineer understands. It means driving an ice axe and boots into the snow, doing whatever it takes to stop the fall before it turns into something fatal. For several tense seconds, it appears he won't be able to slow himself down. After roughly a 20-foot drop, he finally manages to dig in and bring himself to a stop. In environments like this, even ideal conditions can hide sudden dangers, and small mistakes can escalate quickly. If you had been in that situation, would you have reacted fast enough or frozen for just a second too long? Alexander is the creator behind the channel Smotri Suda, known for solo journeys and exploring remote forest areas. But on the night of July 29th, 2021, he was alone near his tent eating fish when unusual sounds began drifting through the darkness.
What the hell is this? What the is this? What the is this? The is about to start. Oh.
Sharp, high-pitched cries echoed between the trees. The noises were unsettling, and something about them didn't feel right. The fading sunlight cast a dim glow over the surroundings, yet he still couldn't identify what was out there, or what had caused those sounds. He stayed cautious, speaking quietly to himself, and trying to remain composed. By morning, he finally allowed himself to relax. In isolated places, sounds can be ordinary yet feel unfamiliar in the dark. Sometimes it's not what happens, but what almost happens that lingers. If you were alone in that forest, would you have stayed calm or packed up before sunrise? English Woodsman is a YouTube channel where Daniel the creator explores small woodland areas and urban forests, documenting each visit. On June 15, 2025, he returned to a small urban woodland he had explored before. It was the kind of place most people would ignore, yet it had always left him with a subtle sense of unease. He moved through the area, unaware that his camera was recording something unsettling in the background.
So there is signs of probably kids or someone camping around here.
Daniel didn't pay much attention to the faint noises at first and dismissed them. He unpacked his gear, set up his tent, lit a small fire, and cooked pork chops. As darkness settled in, the stillness of the woods grew more intense. There was barely any wind yet. Branches shifted and twigs snapped in ways that didn't immediately make sense.
Just feels so uneasy, so unsettled. Wow. I'm going to play that back and see if I've got that. I'm not too sure with, obviously listening it through the GoPro, but that sounded a very weird noise. Like a weird animal noise what I hadn't heard before. So I'm in my tent, my small Owie dropping a hint at me. That's my stove, that. Hello? That was my stove being moved.
Unusual sounds outside the tent interrupted him. He tried to assume it might be a fox or a badger, but the way the movement occurred combined with what had appeared earlier on camera left room for doubt. The noises continued, though nothing could be seen. Nothing seemed disturbed except for the slight repositioning of his stove. He remained quiet and still watching the edge of the firelight. When morning arrived, it brought visibility, but not clarity. The stove had shifted again during the night, yet there were no signs of recent human activity nearby. In places like this, sometimes, it's not what you see that scares you. It's what you can't explain. If you had been there that night, would you have stayed or packed up before sunrise? This clip comes from Swamp Valley, a UK-based channel. His content blends bushcraft solo camping and real-time exploration in remote or historically unsettling areas, capturing events as they happen with minimal editing. It is October 31st, 2018, in the woods surrounding Sungable Detention Center in the United Kingdom. The explorer sets up his woodland campsite, gathering firewood and arranging a small cooking area using basic bushcraft techniques. The forest appears calm. Natural ambient sounds move through the trees, and nothing seems unusual at first.
Salami on the stick, and I'm ready to cook. And
What unsettles him most is how close the noise seems. It doesn't feel far away. The same sound happens again. One unexplained noise might be brushed off, but two at similar intervals are harder to ignore. He begins to question whether staying overnight in that location is a good idea.
I've packed up my bags. I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm not messing about with this stuff. I'm just gonna get out of here. It's gonna be a bugger because I gotta climb through them woods again. Obviously not very welcome here, and I'm okay with that. I think it's time to go. I'm not spending the night in here. Fucking compass isn't working. I'm just gonna have to follow like instincts. There are planes flying. I'm going to try and use them to navigate. This is messed up, man. This is actually messed up. Honestly, I'm just going to keep walking. Hope I get lucky. That fucking noise again. I don't know where the hell I'm going.
Once full darkness sets in, the situation becomes more difficult. Water levels are low, the footing is uncertain, and his camera battery is running out. Making his way back through dense woodland in near-dark conditions adds both physical and mental strain. Using compass direction and instinct, he decides to leave rather than remain exposed. No visible figure or confirmed source of the noise is ever found. When you're alone in the dark, small things can feel much larger than they are. If you had heard those sounds, would you have stayed or left like he did? On October 17, 2023, deep in the forest near Waverly Hall, Georgia, Robert from Sidestep Adventures into History returned with Mr. Dan to explore an abandoned home known as the Old Willis Place. Their channel typically focuses on uncovering forgotten structures and pieces of Southern history. But during this visit, something inside the empty house shifted the atmosphere into something far more uncertain. As they approached the Old Willis Place, the first signs of its age became clear: a crumbling stone wall, worn steps, and an old fieldstone chimney that suggested a structure older than the house itself. As they moved around the property, another chimney appeared in ruins, built using a dry stack method rarely used today. The inconsistency between the house's design and its foundation hinted at a deeper history, one that seemed to linger beneath the quiet woods. A feeling that grew stronger as they stepped inside. Once inside, Mr. Dan estimated the home may have been built in the early 1900s, with later additions made over time.
I'm thinking that this was probably built in the early 1900s, and then sometime in the 1920s, 30s maybe, it was sealed inside with tongue and groove flooring. You can see right there that the house was originally board and batten. I feel like this must have been an early settlement house or the site of one. I believe there might have been something here on this site before this was rebuilt, maybe. Both these chimneys just look like early settlement, especially that one that fell out there, being dry stacked. These were in use, of course, up until Mr. Willis, I guess, passed away.
Right.
We know that this house was vacant.
Evidence of past living remained: whitewashed fireplaces, planks cut away from a honey removal, and uneven walls showing rooms from different periods combined together. Beneath the floorboards, a nearly fossilized tree root remained untouched, as if preserved within the house. And deeper in the crawl space, a small brass-plated spoon emerged from the dirt, adding another detail to the home's incomplete story. But the atmosphere shifted again as they moved toward the old well. At the back of the property,
To look down and see if there's anybody waiting on us down in the well of doom. Well of doom. It's just this has been a sleeved well, so
They put it down in an older well
yeah.
that goes over to there.
See anyone waiting on you down there, Dan?
No, I don't see anything that I recognize. Listen.
All right, hold on. Let me get in position here. Get the light on. All right, ready.
Here we go. That is a deep well.
You've awakened it, Dan.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
See, along this big beam right here, there's the old board and batten would have come off, that would have divided this like into one room, like Dan said earlier, and then like this was added on later, which still doesn't add up to the age, or what looks like the age of the chimneys. I'm gonna pass this back to you, Mr. Dan. I'm gonna try to crawl over there where those Coke bottles are. If I can get the spider webs out of my face. Ugh. So that's a 1958 Coke bottle, right?
What is that?
Oh, that's weird. Here. That is strange. You heard that, right, Dan?
Yes, I did.
That was weird. All right, that's enough of this old house for a minute. We're gonna go look at something else.
Hello?
Robert dropped a brick into the well to estimate its depth. Shortly after, while checking beneath the house, he heard a strange sound above him. Mr. Dan confirmed it. Moments later, a noise that was felt before it was understood. Then came another sharper and unmistakable like movement across a floor where no one stood. Their reactions were immediate and natural, ending the exploration as they backed away from the crawl space and decided to leave. Many viewers believed the sound resembled footsteps moving across old wooden boards, while others suggested it could have been the house settling after years of decay. Whatever the cause, the timing left a question lingering heavier than the silence that followed. If that sound wasn't the wind or the shifting structure of an aging house, then what or who moved across that empty floor? Let me know what you think was waiting inside the old Willis place. On November 10th, 2025, Dawson Toller returned to the remote Cades Cove Primitive Baptist Church, a century-old building hidden deep in the Appalachian Mountains. His channel is known for investigating real paranormal claims, and that night he was once again joined by Michael, still affected by their encounter at Bell Witch Cave. The church and its graveyard were quiet when they arrived, but the silence felt temporary, as if it would not last.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Me and Michael are back. This is the first investigation I have done and Michael has done since our last experience at the Bell Witch Cave.
Oh my god, dude. Stand still.
And today we are back at the Primitive Baptist Church. And if you remember the last time we were here, we actually did get potential activity with some knockings going on and the music box. So we decided to come back. I also wanted to check on Michael. So let's go ahead and head in, talk about the haunting, talk about the place, and let's get into it.
Before starting the investigation, they discussed the lingering unease from Bell Witch Cave, the place where Michael had been scratched, and the experience that made him uncertain about returning, especially with his child's birth approaching. Dawson also revisited the church's darker connections, recalling pastors linked to Josiah Gregory.
This is the Cades Cove Primitive Baptist Church, an Appalachian horror with terrifying paranormal stories and a brutal connection to the Appalachian Death House, which was released just a few weeks ago. This church was founded in the year 1827, but without a proper location, many gatherings took place in nearby cabins, homes, and other buildings, and it wasn't until 1832 that a long-term church was built, eventually outgrowing the size, torn down, and erecting this current version in the year 1887. The cemetery outside the church is the oldest cemetery in Cades Cove. 399 total graves have been documented, but many of them are unmarked. This isn't from a nefarious reason. This is due to the stones sinking into the ground, and the fact that some of the gravestones were no more than large rocks that tourists have taken over the years.
The same figure connected to their Appalachian Death Cabin video. The evening still seemed calm, yet every memory they brought up carried the same quiet warning. And once the daylight faded, the atmosphere inside the old church shifted with it. They entered the church in complete darkness, placing a music box and static box in areas where activity had previously been reported.
I thought I heard it again.
A knock or a whistle?
A knock. If you remember us, could you please just doom, 2 knocks. If you do not remember us, could you give us one knock, please? I heard it. There's no way that it's just, because we sat in here earlier off camera for a good while. Just like we sat right here on this pew.
It was quiet.
And I was listening. I'm like, is there any noises? You know, like just trying to, a baseline for my own ears. And now there's knockings all of a sudden.
Oh, right there.
I was talking, guys. You're not going to be able to hear that, but that was fairly loud.
That one sounded closer.
Yeah.
Sounded like it could have came from the back row of the pew.
Are you in here with us? What the fuck?
Right there. Oh, right there. If that is you, thank you so much for communicating with us. We invite you to come in and hang out with us and let us get to know you a bit better. If you really want to make your presence known, could you please help one of our devices go off and make some pretty music happen?
The first knock came quickly, sharp and clear. More followed, falling into a pattern like responses reminding Dawson of the whistling Michael had heard before. When they began using the Estes method, the spirit box responded almost immediately. "You're back. Wanted here. You're here again." Each message suggested recognition, as if something remembered their last visit. But the tone changed when Dawson pushed the session further. When Dawson asked if anything from Bell Witch Cave had followed Michael, the spirit box replied, "I found." Later, as he attempted to end the session, it delivered a direct, final message. "I don't like you." After that, no other devices responded. Outside in the graveyard, more sounds followed: a loud impact near a nearby structure, then the snap of a branch deeper in the woods. With bear spray left behind in the car and the disturbances continuing, they chose to end the investigation and return to safety. The responses pointed to a presence that seemed aware of their return, and some viewers believed Dawson's questioning may have triggered the hostile reply. Combined with the knocks and the movement outside the church's long history appeared to reflect back at them in ways they could not fully explain. If something recognized them inside that church, what else might remember their presence in the mountains? And after a message that ended with clear hostility, should they really return?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.